Yeah, so when I came back and I met Janet and everything, I decided that I wanted a job. And I wanted a job because I'd done roadieing and I'd been out on tour with different bands and stuff like that. And I thought, you know what, I'll get a job in a warehouse because it's something that I know with the rock and roll industry. None of them wanted to know. Nobody wanted to know. But yet still there was guys who were leaving after me, going to the same warehouses and getting jobs. And they were white. So what does that tell you? So I decided I needed to get a job. So I got a job as white van man, so I got a job with a place called Kelly's Agency, and that was delivering parcels and stuff like that. So whilst I was delivering the parcels, I met someone who told me about a job at the Evening News. So I started working at Manchester Evening News. And whilst I was at the Evening News, I met this guy. I tried to sell him a paper, and he said to me that he had loads already. So I said, why, where do you work at the Evening News? He goes, no, I'm Ray Casting. So cut a long story short, started doing a bit of work for Ray's Castings, like doing TV work and stuff like that, background stuff. And did that a bit. Did Coronation Street, EastEnders, Brookside. Did quite a bit of work. On Brookside, I was the market store holder on there. East Coronation Street, I was just the guy that used to be in the background. However, I broke up Tyrone and Mike Battersby when they had the fight. It was me that broke that up. So that was going okay. And I got all these different type of work. And then I got a job for Ford in 1999. I got a job for Ford as an extra, just background. And cut a long story short, I ended up going from £50 a day for that to getting 2,500 because they used me as the principal. So I got the principal, so the two of us, it was me and this other guy, became the principals. So we got paid for that quite well. And whilst I was there, I was talking to one of the lads, and because now they said to me, well, you can come and let's go and eat with the production manager and all these lot, have our dinner and everything. And I said, nah. I said, you know, I came with all these people, I'm going to sit with them. Because just because I've got this now, I'm still the same as the rest of the guys. I don't feel, so I sat with them. And I sat on this table, and there was this lad, never forget him, called Joe O'Byrne. And because I just got this role and everything, I said to him, oh, wow, I love this, man. I think I could do this for a living. You know what I mean? And he went, well, why don't you go to uni and study and go uni? So I went, me go uni? I said, when I left school, I said, I didn't even have 11 plus. He said, nah, he said, you speak Danish. Because then I spoke Danish, Swedish, Norwegian, and a bit of Finnish, you know. And I said, okay. So I applied to Salford Uni, and they accepted me. And yeah, I did 3 years. I did a 3-year course at Salford. I got my BA Honours. I came in with a BA Honours, and what I did then, I started doing a bit of filming and working with the children in schools and at college and stuff like that. And I wanted to teach them film, and I wanted them to learn that I didn't want to be in front of the camera. I always wanted to be behind the camera, because at the end of the day, I feel it's like for the children, it's their turn. And I wanted the children as well. So the kind of work that I did in the schools was like when the children who didn't have, like when they didn't go to school or they didn't turn up for whatever, they still needed to get, say, a performing arts or something. They still need to get a mark, yeah? So what the Parleswood High School, I used to work at Parleswood High School, they'd call me in, and I would make films with the children. So the ones that say, like, they, say one hadn't been in for ages, I'd say, right, let's do a film on you. Let's find out why you've not come into school. Right, and they would write it down and write why they're not coming to school, and then we would make that and we'd make it into a short film, and he'd tell his story from his point of view, and that way all the other children then would get involved, because then they would be like the sound man, the cameraman, and all these different things. I'd give them all these positions, which was dead easy, very simple positions, And what I would do then, and then what would happen then, they would get a mark, because then they could show that they produced something, because they'd have a film to say, like, I was the producer on this, I was the director on this film. And that's all. So that's what I used to do with the children, because at the end of the day, I wanted them to know that I wanted to be that person that I never had in my life. I wanted to be that role model in their life, to say to them, listen, you can make it. Don't care, just because you're black or just because you're poor or whatever, you can still make it. It's just all up here. It's what's here. Yeah. If you really know that you want to do this thing, then you're going to do it. You know, but if you haven't got no one there to show you that you can do that, you're not going to do it, because you don't know. You know, you can't know how to write A if someone don't show you how to write A. You know, you can see it a million times, you don't know how to write it. But if someone gets your hand and guides you, you can do it. So that's all it was for me. So that's basically my life. It's just now just trying to, I'm 71 now, I'm trying to get it so that if I live for another 10 years or 20 years, I just want to leave something behind positive. I want the children to know that I can do better than what Winston Carrington did. I can be better than him. And that's what I want. I want every child to know they can do better than what I did. They can be more successful. They can do everything 1,000 times, because first of all, your brain is a muscle. If you exercise that muscle, it's going to work. If you don't exercise it, it's going to work in something else. So what are you going to exercise it in? When I went to school, when I worked in the schools, I used to take my antecedents in. I used to take my degree in. And I used to pass them round. I said, right, which one do you want? Do you want a degree or do you want a criminal record? Which one are you going to have? So, and for me, I got much more from being like working with the schools and things like that. I got much more for myself. Yeah, I felt much better. Yeah, than I did any money that I've ever made. And I've made a little bit of dough, but I get more enjoyment working with children, showing them how to turn a camera on, how to do the sound, you know, how to look at the light, how to do the lighting. You know, I get more from that than winning the lottery, because I know that child might go out and do something. I mean, I've had 2 children come through that I've had Louis Dower. So he does a lot on TV now, and that's through him. And George was the first Asian lad to play Piggy in Lord of the Flies on Drury Lane. So, but he'll tell you, if it wasn't for me, because he'll tell you himself, I'm not saying that I'm bigging myself up. He up to the other day, he said it. He said, Winston, if it wasn't for you, and he's been in Hollywood and done all kind of stuff. So there's a few children that I've helped. Yeah. And for me, I love that, you know, because I never got there, but I'd love to know that I can help someone get on that run, to know that they can make it, because there's that much influences outside for them to do other things. You know, there's not that many people saying to them, come on, let's do something. You know, how many children at the age of 7, 12, 13, if you went to them and said, listen, here's a camera, right, let's make a film together. How many children would jump at that? Nearly every child would jump at that, especially now you got TikTok and all them, because they're all making short films. You know, they don't realise it, but all those little things they're doing, they might only be 30 seconds, but it's a 30-second film. And the hardest thing to do is tell a story in 30 seconds. And a lot of them are doing it and they don't realise that. So when I was 67, I found for about 18 months before, round the 67 time, 18 months but on either side, that I wasn't getting my erection anymore. I wasn't keeping my, first of all, I didn't have any, my libido had gone, totally gone. So it also contributed to my relationship splitting, because my partner thought I'd gone off her. She thought maybe I fancied someone else. So I went to my doctor and I said to my doctor, look doc, this is the score. I'm not doing it anymore. I need some Viagra. And she goes, Mr. Carrington, no. Let's just do, it might be something more significant. Let us do a test. She did a test and it came back that I had prostate cancer. So that was in, when I was 67. I had my procedure when I was 68, because and I was given the all clear in January this year. The reason I had brachytherapy too. And brachytherapy too, what brachytherapy is, it's a radiotherapy, and they have a graft, and they have like these squares, and they can see on the graft where the cancerous cells are. So what they do, they put a needle into each one of the cancerous cells, and they blast it with radiation, a high dose of radiation. And what happens as that kills the cancerous cell, and as that shrinks, the healthy cells take over from where the cancerous cells were. It works for, it's like 10% of people it doesn't work for, so I was one of the ones that very fortunate that it did work for. So yeah, and here I am now. I'm on this side of it. I'm back healthy again, and I just try and help other people. So I give talks to hospitals and radio shows and everything, and I try to get men and women to understand that if a man is not feeling as amorous as he used to, he might not be playing away from home. He might have a problem. So what I do, I tell the women and say, listen, you know what? If your man's not getting it on with you, talk to him. Talk. Ask him what's wrong. You know, then if he says, oh, I still love you, I'm not playing away, well, come on, let's go to the doctor then. Let's find out why you don't feel the way you did 6 months ago or when we first met. There's no reason why you shouldn't be. That way, if it is that, because it could be something else. So if it's not prostate cancer, if it's prostatitis, he can do something. If he can get his Viagra. Yeah, because it's not prostate cancer. If it's prostate cancer, what happens then is that the woman has just saved his life. So he owes her big time. So what we've done now, we've saved a life, and we've also saved a relationship. So that's what I try to do now. So if I can just save one life and one relationship, as long as I am on this earth, then my part on this earth is done. And then I'm happy, I know I've done my right thing. Because I think it's important that us men, especially black guys, get to realise that prostate cancer, it is a killer, it is a silent killer. However, if you catch it early, ignorance, people are dying of ignorance, right? Because, especially our black guys, because of things that we were taught from the Bible, that a man is not supposed to have anything going up his rectum. However, what men have got to realise is that your prostate is directly in line with your rectum. So the only way they can check that is by that examination. Other than that, it's a major operation to get to it, to look at it. So what I would tell to everyone is, first of all, if you don't want to have the examination, which I think you should have first, then have the blood, but then you can have the blood and then go for the examination. But however, you can go for the blood and it can come back okay and you can have it. So for me, I would tell every man, go do the procedure first, get your examination, then get your blood test, and then you've got the two, and then you're okay. But other than that, if you do the way around, you can miss. Yeah, and like I said, it's a silent killer. So you thinking that everything's okay because you've only done the blood, because it's come back, your PSA is low, but yet still your prostate might be quite enlarged. You know, so not everyone gets up in the night going to the toilet. Not everyone cannot hold the urine during the day. I didn't have that problem. I didn't have a problem with getting up during the night. I slept right through. So there's different ways of finding out, and the only way to find out is to get checked. It's the only way. Women have to get their breasts checked. Men should have the testicles, should check the testicles for any lumps, any gristle, any hard bits they find. Just get that straight away, just like if any women find any in the breast. And also with the prostate, you know, you get anything that changes, anything medically that you know in yourself is not quite right, get checked.
What about cancer? The name cancer. What was it like? Was it scary?
When I was told that I had cancer, I sat there and cried. My son was with me, and of course the doctor said, unfortunately, I've got to tell you, it's prostate cancer. You have prostate cancer. I just saw a coffin. Well, you did. I just saw myself in a coffin, because that's it. When someone tells you you've got cancer, that's it. However, once you start getting then into the procedures and all the actually getting to know what cancer you have, and then you get to realize it's not a death sentence. Yeah, but when you're told you've got cancer, the first, well, for me, and I can only speak about me, I thought straight away, I just saw myself lying in a coffin in a church. Yeah, I did. When he said that, that's the first thing that that's it, I'm gone. You know, but it's not like that. You know, you've got to know your body. I can't tell you enough. No one knows your body better than you. No doctor, no nurse, nobody knows your body better than you. So the slightest change that you find in your body, go to your doctor. I don't care what it is. What it is, skin, whatever it is. It could be any blemishes, anything. Go to your doctor and get it checked.
After the cancer treatment and everything came through and that, after you done that, yeah, did your libido come back?
Yeah. My libido was back where it was. Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you. If you do catch it early, any illness, cancer-wise, if it's caught early, you're okay. You're okay. But yeah, my libido is back. I'm back to how I was when I was 18. Well, no, not really, but I'd like to think that.
Okay, brilliant.
My mum, from day one, she was always insisting that I got an education, that I looked after myself, that I could wash, that I could cook, that I could sew. You know, that I could do everything to look out. Because my mum always said, you see, my mum, the most positive things, all the positive things I learned in my life, I got from my mum. Everything positive in my life, I got from my mum. Everything negative, I got from the world. Yeah? So my mum never once in her life taught me anything negative. Anything. I can sit here and say that, and knowing that if I'm lying, I don't get off this chair. I can honestly say that my mother, I'm not saying she was a saint, but she was very close to it. She didn't drink, she didn't swear, you know, she didn't go out partying, you know, she didn't gallivant around the place, she was always home, we knew where she was, you know, even when I ran away from home and came back, you know, she was there, the door was open, you know, she was just open arms, you know, it was many a night. I mean, I remember, it's really bad. When I was about 17, meeting my mum in the street, and she's saying to me, "Oh son, you need to come home. You're this and rare." And I remember looking at her and saying to her, "How can you tell me what to do? I'm a man. You're a woman. You will never know what it's like to be a man and what it's like to be on the street." And you know, when I think about things like that, it really hurts, because all she wanted to do, she just wanted the best for me. Yeah, but because of whatever, of the things that I'd seen in the street, of things that I'd seen my dad, because my father, one of the last things I remember of my father was biting him on his leg because he was attacking my mum. And he's slapping me and knocking me across the road, across the room. That's one of the last things I remember of my father. So to me, men, I've not really had that positive male in my life per se, barring books that I've maybe have read, you know, like Seize the Time and them kind of books, you know, Black Panther books and stuff like that I read. That was the only time really that I got any positive males. And then when I got into the Rasta, then I realised that then there was positive stuff there. However, coming from Barbados, there was no way that I could like talk about anything Rasta in my house, my mum's house. There was no way. She was a Christian. There's no way, you know. So all those things are things like which I think at the time, when I look back now, hindsight's a bugger. I look back now and I think, you know, I could have done things differently. However, I don't think I'd do anything different, even going to jail. I don't think I'd do anything different, because if I did, I wouldn't be sat here now. I wouldn't have my children. I wouldn't have the life that I've had. And as far as I'm concerned, my life, I'm happy with what I've done in my life. I'm happy with it, you know. I've walked both sides. I've walked the sides of crime, and I've walked the sides of something better.
Mommy, is she still around?
No, I lost my mum when she was 90, unfortunately. Wow. The only person that's never lied to me, that I know of. My mother was everything to me. You know, she's up there. She was everything to me. Everything. You know, she's just like... Well, as I said, she taught me, my mother taught me how to be a man. She taught me how to wash myself. She always said, son, if you don't look after yourself, if you don't keep yourself clean, no woman's going to want you. No woman's going to want a dirty nigger. I know she didn't say nigger, she said nigger. You know, how we used to say, you know, no woman's going to want a dirty nigger, you know, around them. You know, make sure that you're clean, make sure you can cook. Because if your wife is ill, then you can cook for her, you know. If she leaves you, you can cook for yourself. And that was my mum, you know. She was, you know, she did every single thing. I cannot think of one thing, even in Barbados. I can't remember a time in mum. I remember when Princess Margaret or the Queen or one of them came to Barbados as a child, and I found this diamond earring. Yeah. And you know, about 4 or 5 years before she died, my mum said, you know, I've still got that earring. And she still had the earring, and she gave it me. It's in here somewhere. It's in this house somewhere. I found it when I was 6 or 5 or 6, whenever. Yeah, that's from my mum. That's my mum.
So, how did your mum die?
Right, so my mum had bowel cancer. But she didn't die from bowel cancer. She died from hardening of the arteries. And that was the most shockingest thing. Because, you know, my mum taught me that it's just a breath. We're just one breath away from death. No more. One breath. No more than that. Everyone thinks you haven't got no more than one breath. That's all we've got. And it's scary when you think that. However, being around her and like with her never lying to me, and when my mum died, my son's mother worked in a nursing home for the last 30 odd years, from she was 20 to date. She was worked in a nursing home, and she said when my mum died, she's never seen anyone smile. When my mum died, she had a smile on her face. She actually smiled, and it was true. Even when she was laying in a coffin in the church, she had that smile. She still had that smile on her face. It's like she knew that she'd fulfilled everything that she had to do on this earth. It's like she knew it, and that's how I want to be. That's how I want to go. I want to go with a smile. I want to think, you know, well, I've done everything I can. You know, I've taught the children, I've shown them the good side, and I've told them about the bad side. they've got a choice. My mum only showed me the good side. I had to find the bad side for myself. So I've done the bad side so my children don't have to do it.
So the feeling, can you remember that feeling when you heard your mum died?
When my mum died, I was in the hospital. My mum died in the hospital. And she was in a coma. And what happened was, there was me, Janet and Elliot at the bedside. And I was rubbing her hand saying to her, it's okay, Mum, you can go now, you can go. Because I could smell that her body was starting to go. And I said, I'm just going to nip out for a second, Mum. And I only went out for a second, or a couple of minutes, or what. When I came back, they said, oh, she's gone. And I said, nah, there's no way she can go like that. And she'd gone. And I don't know where it came from. I just got this scream came from inside. I don't know where that sound came from. It was the most hurtful thing I've ever experienced in my life, feelings-wise. I could never imagine that. Because she was the longest person I'd ever known in my life. I'd never known anybody else longer than my mum. No one in my life had I had around me as long as my mum. So when she went, it was like part of me had gone. In fact, when I was in the church the day when she was being buried, I went up to the altar and I closed my eyes and I begged the Most High to take me. I came back to this flat and I got involved in drugs and I tried to commit suicide. Really, when my mum went, yeah. I didn't have the guts to go stand in front of a car or anything like that. I didn't. But yeah, for about 6 months. It was my children that pulled me through. It was my children that pulled me through. If I didn't have children, I don't know if I'd be here today. Seriously. That's how much I miss her. And sometimes, I'm in there at the kitchen and I'm scrubbing the pots, you know what I mean? And I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, I can hear a voice in me saying, that pot's not clean. You got to scrub it better. Did I buy it like that? Did I buy it with a burn on it? No, I want it clean. That's my mum. Because when we used to wash her pots, you know what I mean? She likes her pots the way she bought them. You know what I mean? She used to say, that's what she used to say. She used to say, did I buy them like that? Did I buy them dirty like that? So why are you putting them down dirty like that? That was my mum, yeah.
If your mum was around now, what would you say to your mum?
God, if my mum was around now, what would I say to her? Well, God, I'd tell her that I love her every day like I did. Yeah. Yeah, I'd tell her that I love her every day. And I'd phone her every day like I did. I used to. Yeah.
Have your mum instilled in you?
Right.
What instilled in others?
Right, so what my mum's instilled in me was truth, honesty. Truth and honesty. My mum always used to say, a liar will cause you to cause you death because he'll send you to the gallows. A thief, you can lock his stuff away from. So if someone's a thief, you know that, well, this person's a thief, but a liar. So for me, and I've always instilled that in my children, don't tell lies, be honest. Yeah, because honesty is the best of policy. That's my mum's to say, another one. Honesty is the best of policy, Honesty is the same up a hill as it is in the well, All them things she used to say to me all the time. So for me, I think what she's instilled and what I will take with me and what I would like to think my grandchildren, more than my children, what I'd like to think my grandchildren are going to be is honest and truthful and just be real with people, just be truthful with people so that people know where they stand. If you tell them this is solid ground, they don't go up to here in quicksand. Your word is your bond. I'll tell you something what my mum, a really quick one, really quick. And I don't know if you use this, but I'll tell you. My mum taught me about honesty is the best of policy. So when I was in Copenhagen, I used to do a little bit of dealing. So I used to buy, when anyone bought anything off me, if they bought a kilo, it would be 1,001 gram. Because whatever scale they put it on, it was always in. So if their scales were out, it was in because I put that extra gram on. So in the end, that's why I was saying earlier that I got to be able to deal with people, right? Because people got to realise that in the end, they didn't even put my stuff on scales. When I did things, I just gave it them, they gave me the money because they knew. So that's what my mother was insisting me, honesty, regardless where you are, regardless what you're dealing in. Yeah, you're dealing in the church, or if you're dealing in voodoo, business. Honesty is the thing that will carry you through.
Alright, that's brilliant. Barbados. Have you been back to Barbados?
Yeah, I was in Barbados 3 years ago. Yeah, and it was beautiful. I'm going back in November because I've been caught up in the Windrush. Like I said, I came here when I was 7, and I went for a passport a while ago, and they told me that I couldn't have one because because they didn't recognise Barbados at the time that we were independent, which is a load of rubbish because Barbados didn't get the independence in 1966, and the same flag that was flying over Buckingham Palace, 10 Downing Street, the House of Commons and the House of Lords and all them was a Union Jack, and that's the same flag that was flying over Barbados. So when I was born under the flag, so I am actually a British English citizen. But as far as they're concerned, we've got to apply. So yeah, so I've got this thing going on with them at the moment. So hopefully, my grandchildren will get some money out of them. Because I think they're going to drag it out that long that I won't be around to see it. I think that what I'd like to finish off and saying is that my grandchildren are everything. My grandchildren are everything to me, and I think they're who are keeping me going. My grandchildren is what's keeping me the way that I am, because I want to see them. I want to see my grandchildren grow. I want to see them at least get into university. So I want to live strong. I want to be healthy so that I can still run up and down with them and be there, so that when they have their children, they can say, well, my granddad was this and we want to be the same as my granddad. And that's all I want. There's nothing more I could have from that.